Uh, welcome. I'm here with Skip.
Hello.
Yeah. Hope you will enjoy this. Um, and just for a short interview, could you start by telling me or reflect about the big why in VR? Uh, why is VR useful in your perspective?
Well, I think that it's an easy question on a high level to lay out why VR makes sense. Now, executing on that is another challenge, but virtual reality makes so much sense in the healthcare or the human research or the psychology or social work or physical therapy domains because it allows us to create simulations of environments of relevance that we can put people in or help them to interact with in ways that you just can't do in the real world. It's the ultimate Skinner box. You have a capability to create a very controlled stimulus environment that'll either test or train or teach or treat human function under a range of very precise conditions and in conditions that you can bring the outside world into the clinical setting. And you just can't bring people to all these places and test them under perfect conditions or train them under perfect conditions. I mean, when in the early days of VR, I remember I went to an APA, American Psychological Association conference, and back 97, 98, 2000, you really had to sell the concept of VR because VR had such a bad reputation because there was so much hype about it in the early mid-90s, but technology wasn't mature. VR was very hard and very expensive to do. So when I would go to these conferences and make the case that VR is going to change the face of clinical care, and people were like, well, how? And I would say, okay, think about this. When you're flying home from this conference, would you prefer that your pilot was trained and certified in an aircraft simulator for how to deal with wind shear or turbulence? Or would you rather he, learned it out of a manual, out of a book, or on the job training, which is scary. And that's when people started to get it, that, and then you follow up by, at that time I'd say, we're not there yet, but we will be. The technology is going to continue to grow, and it did happen. Computing got faster, computer graphics got better, interface devices evolved, display technology now, a $200 headset is better than a $20,000 headset from 7 years ago. And so the technology finally caught up with the vision. And so that all that work that was done in the early days was really proof of concept. It was really trying to show that this technology had value. And along the way, some good research got done. So we have a good knowledge base. We have probably the largest scientific literature of any VR use cases in mental health and rehab. So now we're at this tipping point where, we have the technology, we've got a good basis of science, and we've got a ton of ideas. There's a million different ways you can leverage this. Every day, either I get an email or a phone call, or I come up with one myself, a new way that VR could make a difference in clinical care and in research, of course. So, why VR is, I think you can make a strong case for why, but how, and that's where combination of money, combination of interdisciplinary expertise, you can't do it alone as a psychologist. You got to work with computer scientists or computer graphics or art people that know how to create things, and you've got to put that whole team together to do it. And so it's always a challenge to get the funding, to take an idea, build a prototype, test it out, prove that you're not hurting anybody at the first point, and then show that it kind of makes a difference for these folks. So it's the how part that's the hard part. The why part is easy.